Good. Thank you very much. I've been told that we need to press the button or lever on our microphones in order to activate it. Okay. Thank you very much, and good morning, members of the Board of Regents, and also good morning to all of our guests. It's really a treat to be here at UW-Stevens Point, and I want to thank Chancellor Bunnell and all of the staff who have arranged these wonderful reception for us. It's really nice to walk into this building and before you can get to the second level of steps to have been greeted by 12 polite, warm, welcoming undergrads and also a beautiful pointer dog. I know a number of Regents had the privilege of attending the Wynton Marsalis concert last night. That was a real treat for those who were able to attend, and I understand we're going to be treated also by a number of talented students and faculty later, and we'll look forward to that. At this time, I would like to introduce UW-Stevens Point Chancellor Linda Bunnell. I think that we'll see in the Chancellor's presentation that there is a lot to be proud of on this campus, from UW-Stevens Point's applied research activities in agriculture and nanotechnology, with a recorded message from Melvin Laird, a longtime member of Congress from the 7th District, leader in central Wisconsin. Mr. Laird also served as Secretary of Defense.
To extend to you the warmest greetings as you begin your meetings at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. This is a special university. Year in and year out, the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point provides opportunities that are relevant to the truly exceptional students who make up this university. For over 55 years, the Laird Youth Leadership Scholarship and Laird Day programs have been in existence. We just held the 21st Laird Day this past April, right here in this very building. Our keynote speaker this year was James Bradley, author of The Flags of Our Fathers, President Ford, many national cabinet members, Governor and the Chief Justice of our Supreme Court. We bring to the campus the best and the brightest of our state's young high school students from central and northern Wisconsin for an intensive day of inspiration from some of our nation's most important leaders. The trend connects all of us here in this area is our set of common sense values, that of hard work, leadership, and respect for all viewpoints. A clear understanding of what it means to do the right thing, and a willingness to put others first. The awareness and appreciation for the world around us. To me, these are the central tenets of leading from the center. These are challenging times, and I applaud each of you gathered today. The work you do to advance higher education in Wisconsin. We must continue to unite our voices in the cause of higher education. It holds the key to a better future for Wisconsin and our nation. Thank you.
It's an honor for all of us to receive that welcome from Mr. Laird, former Secretary of Defense and our Congressman for 17 years. Mr. Laird's a native of Marshfield and has been a wonderful friend of UWSP and Central Wisconsin since his days in the State Senate, which began in the late 1940s. Now that you've been recognized and welcomed by Melvin Laird and by Mackenzie, our new live mascot, an English pointer. She is a purebred, a rescue. She was to be euthanized, and an anonymous donor provided the funds for to have her. Now let me add my welcome on behalf of the entire UW-Stevens Point community. I'm so pleased that we have with us several elected officials. Senator Julie Lassa, who is here. Julie is a UWSP graduate. I know Representative Milewski will be here shortly. I want to recognize our mayor, Andrew Halverson. Mayor Halverson is also a graduate of UWSP. I want to recognize Jim Tipple, the mayor of Wausau, also a graduate of UWSP, and Mary Jo Carson, who is the mayor of Wisconsin Rapids. Unfortunately, not a graduate of UWSP, but certainly to have you, and we want to show you that this region is together, leading from the center. Many of you have already had a taste of the richness of central Wisconsin since you arrived. Regent Falbo had a short round of golf at Century World with two of our top pointer golfers, Michelle and Jessica, of our women's golf team, as well as our basketball coach, Coach Simley. Regent Falbo, I'm going to let you report your score.
We had a little contest, and I took Michelle as a partner because we graduated from the same high school. And we won on the last hole, last putt. We beat the coach and Jessica.
Good news. Good news. This morning, a hearty group joined members of our ROTC, which the United States Army ranks as the best in the Midwest, for a run through Schmeekley Reserve. Schmeekley is our 250-acre nature preserve that adjoins our campus. It's really between our campus and Century Insurance. That nature preserve is also host to the wonderful Stevens Point Green Circle. Several others were on hand for breakfast. What a wonderful event our community enjoyed last evening as Century Insurance presented Wynton Marsalis live in concert as part of Century's invitation to the arts program. Thank you so much, Dale. I'm so grateful to you for all that you've done for support of the arts in our community and support for the arts on our campus. Today, I want you to know that Wynton Marsalis is leading master classes for our own students. He'll be here all week. Leading master classes for our music students, high school and middle school students from Central Wisconsin and from Milwaukee, all made possible through the generosity of Century Insurance. We're so happy to report that today Dale Shue has announced a $500,000 five-year renewal of Century's commitment to continue the invitation to the arts program. Please join me in showing him our gratitude. Dale, stand up. Century is Portage County's largest employer. I'd like to recognize two other members of our community, John and Patty Noel. John is away on business, and we'd hope that Patty could join us today. They founded Travel Guard Insurance right here in Stevens Point, and they are another major employer in our community. Their combined commitment to the arts, to providing access to higher education through the Compass Scholars Program, has made a remarkable impact on this campus and throughout the community and the region. The Noel Compass Scholars Program is a unique collaboration between the Noel Group and UWSP. Every year, the Noel Group selects 3 to 4 students from racial or ethnic minorities to receive a 4-year full tuition, fees, room and board scholarship. The scholarship holders are expected to remain in Stevens Point during the summer months, where they work in a meaningful job in the Noel group in an area related to their academic major. I know of no other such program in the country. To date, we have enrolled 19 Compass Scholars. John and Patty also are Pointer alumni, graduates of UWSP, and we're so proud that they will receive the 2008 Governor's Award in Support of the Arts in just a few weeks in recognition of their individual leadership over nearly 2 decades in supporting the arts and making university education possible for dozens of underserved and disadvantaged individuals. Patty, if you're here, I think she must be busy today. There's so much we want to see and we want to show you firsthand, and so little time to show you. After our session this morning, we're going to present our Leading from the Center Festival. We're going to bring the university to you. We're bringing a cross-section of people, faculty, students from throughout the institution to demonstrate the ongoing accomplishments of our students and faculty as they bring to life Vision 2015. In Vision 2015, we connect to the future as we challenge our students to become global citizens, reflect and project our university's history and values in the life and the look of the campus, as we experience the dialogue and the debate of the liberal arts and sciences, as we take responsibility for personal and community wellness, as we continue our leadership at the national forefront of environmental stewardship, and as we demonstrate the power of communication and the arts. You will also see both in our festival and in my presentation this morning some of the ways in which our university is partnering with others for a vibrant economy. This fall we enrolled 9,120 students. The academic talent of our freshman class, as measured by ACT scores, GPA, and class rank, is the highest in our history. And we have never been more diverse. The diversity of our entire student body continues to climb. We are an attractive choice for transfer students, especially from our nearby UW colleges in Wausau and Marshfield. I'm so pleased to have Dean Sandy Smith of UW Marathon County with me here today, and I believe later Dean Andy Keogh, Dean of UW Marshfield in Wood County, will be joining us. I'm also proud to say that our international student enrollment continues to climb. UWSP is a leader as well among regional universities in the UW system in the amount of federally funded applied research. From our work in biofuels as we develop the Wisconsin Institute for Sustainable Technology, to our new Geographic Information Systems Center, to our Northern Aquaculture Research Station in Bayfield. Thank you, Julius. We remain on the leading edge of applied research relevant to central Wisconsin. It's the relevance that is appreciated by our partners, such as the Marshfield Clinic, where our emerging master's program in informatics and our undergraduate degree in health science, along with our continuing efforts to establish a regionally based nursing program in partnership with our area technical colleges, mesh nicely with the clinic's regional footprint and nationally recognized research and services.
We are critically dependent upon local universities and colleges providing that rich source of employees for us. We're a large organization employing about 6,200 folks in addition to our physicians now. And without that ongoing process of having the opportunity to recruit well-trained young people into our system, we wouldn't have enjoyed the growth that we've enjoyed up to this point in time. And I can't underscore enough the importance of having local universities because of that propensity for people to kind of stay where they're trained at, and that's absolutely critical for us. And so what we see commonly as I talk with our employees, people from small rural towns of 500 to 1,000 people who have chosen to go on to a state university here, get their education, and they want to stay in the area. It's home to them. Family are here, and so we are critically dependent upon that, much more so than entities that would be located in a larger metropolitan area. I love it personally because, I live 4 minutes from work, and I can practice in a place that truly engages in world-class practice of medicine, yet I don't have the hassles of traffic, I don't have traffic jams, I don't have a lot of the ills, if you will, of large city living. So, and that's a common comment that I get from physicians and other professionals that we bring in here, is that they love the rural lifestyle. They love the ease of living here.
Carl Ulrich, Marshfield Clinic, leading from the center. It's a privilege, Carl, to work as your partner as well as with Ministry Healthcare and our neighbor, and Aspirus, also a healthcare organization new to our community. Carl is here today, and I hope you'll have a chance to visit with him during our Leading from the Center Festival. Some of our other important areas of programmatic growth related to health and wellness include our clinical doctorate in audiology, granted in conjunction with UW-Madison. Ours was the first clinical doctorate to be approved by the Board of Regents, and we're very proud. I'm also pleased to report that our program in health and wellness, I think many of you may know that the wellness movement began here in Stevens Point in the 1970s. That program has been the first to be nationally accredited by the National Wellness Institute. In response to other area needs, we are developing a Master's in Leadership. There are only 9 such programs in the country. Our Center for Leadership Excellence and Economic Development in downtown Wausau, which we opened just a year ago, is a continuation of the pursuit of the mission that President Lyle and the Regents gave me when I came to this university in June of 2004. They told me to serve all of the people and all of the needs of central Wisconsin. Led by our vision, we are committed to serving the region's needs and the state's needs, indeed the world's needs, with the unique assets which have developed here. Growth brings its occasional pain as our outlook and our reach broadens across the state of Wisconsin, indeed across the world. While some may be hesitant to, at best, embrace the change and challenge of a wider horizon for UWSP, I think that our success thus far with our Center for Leadership and Economic Development in Wausau is just a demonstration, just the beginning, that we can continue to serve our immediate community while we reach out to others as well.
Our partnership with UW-Stevens Point has been ongoing for some time, but in recent years has moved to a new level. And that partnership entails many relationships that we have where we pay the costs of our employees to take classes at the university. And, of course, because of the convenient proximity of the university, we have many employees that do that. We also, of course, hire from the university, and we have right now, I believe, around 60 employees who have degrees from UW-Stevens Point. But where we've hit another level is where the university has come to us and really helped us design curriculums that are specific to our needs. And yet, we realize that some of those needs may be also needs of other businesses in the area. And a good example of that is our Leadership University that we conduct in collaboration with UW-Stevens Point. In fact, the very day I'm doing this video happens to be a day when our most recent group of individuals that have gone through this 2-year program will be graduating, and I'll be at that graduation this evening. And one of our biggest challenges as we continue to grow our company is to develop the future leaders that we need to run the departments, the factories, the businesses that we're constantly involved in expanding and the new businesses that we're establishing. And we like to feel that it's best to promote from within, and with that in mind, we need to give them structured experiences to better understand themselves, better understand what leadership entails as it relates to motivation and planning and strategic thinking and the many facets of leadership. And we've turned to the university, and I'm pleased to say we've had just an outstanding result in the development of our people.
Dwight Davis, leading from the center. Did you know that Greenheck Fan provided the ventilation system for the bird cage at the Beijing Olympics? Those fans and the ventilation system were manufactured right here in central Wisconsin. GreenHeck is a global corporation whose partnership with our university has been a win-win. Leading from the center is not only our theme for this meeting of the Board of Regents, but it's also the title of our current growth agenda proposal. In the first installment of our 3 biennial request, and we have a 6-year horizon for the budget request that we've developed, we have asked the Regents, and we thank you for your support, and we ultimately ask our legislature and the governor to keep in mind some of the unique characteristics and responsibilities of UW-Stevens Point. While we attract students from throughout the region, we are attracting more and more students from the larger metropolitan areas, Dane County, Waukesha, and Milwaukee. Over the past 5 years, we've seen a 27% increase in students from those metropolitan regions. Our 2008 freshman class is the most diverse ever, 8% from racial and ethnic minorities, up from 3% 10 years ago. We've more work to do, but we know that there is strong commitment, and as the critical mass begins here, we know that we will attract more and more students from racial and ethnic minorities. We serve the largest portion of Wisconsin's geography of any of our regional universities. We're pleased, as we analyze our enrollment data, to note that within those counties that are most close to UWSP, the percentages of university-bound students are among the highest in Wisconsin when compared to other regions of other universities. Yet our work is cut out for us if we consider the high percentage of the counties just a little further to the north of us, where most of the adults have only high school degrees. This gets to the heart of Advantage Wisconsin, and it illustrates our need for resources to help raise the educational levels in central and also northern Wisconsin in partnership with UW-Superior. We are committed to partnering with our technical college, Midstate, North Central Technical College, Nicolet, who are closer to those counties where so few baccalaureate graduates reside. We're also partners with the UW College system in our area. The 5 of us meet every 2 months as a consortium, and we are committed. Just a few days ago, Bill Tien was at our meeting. We committed ourselves to put all our resources to realizing the effort that we must make in the education of healthcare professionals. We are fortunate to have an imaginative, focused, and hardworking regional economic development consortium. It's called Centergy. It's led by Reuter Ware attorney Bill Tien. Centergy has reached out to us and to our partner institutions in ways that reflect a deep understanding of the importance of a university and of colleges with its sights set on a tri-county area and beyond. They have focused us all on the big picture and helped us to see that the whole can be more than the sum of its parts.
You cannot have a strong economic development program without strong workforce development. And in today's economy, workforce development is really essentially driven, in my opinion, at the university level. From a leadership standpoint, you need good 4-year graduates coming out of the university system to support the regional economy. Many of our members of our workforce are incumbent workers. They are here people who need training and retraining, and that sort of activity and educational service is really, we believe, best provided within the region. UWSP as a strong educational partner in the central Wisconsin region is really vital to making sure that all the industries and industry sectors that we have here in central Wisconsin are going to have the resources that they need going forward in the years to come to really be successful.
Centergy, leading from the center. We lead from the center by building on our heritage. At UWSP, we enjoy a history that dates back to 1894, when a hard-fought effort brought this institution to this community. As we progressed into the 21st century, we build on our years of local service, to regional sites, and to create an even greater impact on central Wisconsin. One of our key areas of opportunity for central Wisconsin is sustainability. Our connections to sustainability begin with the days of Teddy Roosevelt. With the dawn of the American conservation movement, UWSP was offering courses in the early 1900s in conservation. Schmeekley Reserve is named for Fred Schmeekley, who taught the first course on this campus to prospective teachers about how to teach conservation in the public schools. We embraced the environmental movement in the 1960s, and through the past few decades, we have emerged as a national leader in natural resources education. We host the nation's largest undergraduate program in natural resources and a master's degree that is in high demand nationally and internationally. Our faculty urged us to participate in sustainable practices long before it was popular to do so. We were among the first universities to sign the American College Presidents and Chancellors' commitment to the climate. It's, of course, impossible to be surrounded by the natural beauty of central Wisconsin and not be inspired to sustain and conserve our resources. Our surroundings have drawn many great leaders to make central Wisconsin their home and commit to building our region. You may know Tom Howitt from his role as an advocate for the state's business and industry community. We know him here, however, as the CEO of Wausau Paper. He came to central Wisconsin from Chicago, and today he's a happy resident of central Wisconsin, drawn by our region's beauty and the ethic of hard work found in all of our communities.
As I look at the impact of UW-Stevens Point in terms of their mission to educate individuals within this area, I think they play an absolute critical role. One area that I would point out is the paper science program at UW-Stevens Point. I've had the privilege to have served on the Paper Science Foundation at UW-Stevens Point and did so for nearly a decade. So I have firsthand knowledge of the quality of the graduates that come from the program. And one of the things I think that is particularly critical is the fact that the individuals who graduate from this program are not only technically astute, but are also mature, poised, and are ready to contribute from day one as they join employers in the paper industry. Given the difficult environment we've had in the paper industry in recent years, we operate on a relatively lean basis, and so having individuals who come in, even as fresh graduates, ready to contribute from day one is absolutely critical to our success. And UW-Stevens Point being the only school within the region or even the state that prepares students for the paper industry plays absolutely a critical role for us. Beyond that, I'd also comment that the university provides a terrific environment for individuals as we recruit to our company at various locations. The atmosphere and the opportunities associated with a four-degree university are very attractive to many individuals, and in fact that becomes a recruiting tool for us. I think it's also important to note, though, that individuals who graduate regionally are more likely to stay home and stay within this region, and that in turn contributes to economic development in our region. So I think all of those factors make UWSP's mission in this area critical.
Tom Howitt, leading from the center. I'd also like to recognize Jerry Whitburn, who is with us today. Jerry declined to be a star on the screen, but he is the president of Church Mutual Insurance. Its home office is in Merrill. It is an insurance company, obviously, meeting needs of churches for more than 111 years. They operate in all 50 states and have almost 900 employees, 600 in the home office here in Merrill. Jerry, would you like to make a comment? Jerry Whitburn, leading from the center. UW-Stevens Point is worth the state's continued investment. Last year, we put forth an ambitious campus facilities master plan that fortunately met with your approval and that receive support from many members of the Stevens Point community. We're grateful for your support. Now for our growth agenda proposal, as I said earlier, for the next 6 years, funded in 2-year increments. I promise you that we will continue to dream big here at Stevens Point. Our next academic building, the first since 1975, the Center for Innovation and Collaboration, must go forward soon. During this year, I'll be putting together a planning team to explore moving our athletic program to NCAA Division II, to give our fine coaches and athletes greater recognition nationally and regionally. Our Wisconsin Institute for Sustainable Technologies, driven first by our biofuels initiative, we've just snagged 2 really big grants recently, one from the state of Wisconsin, will come to fruition. I want to recognize our deans and the team that helps me do all the things that we do here at the University of Wisconsin. I can tell you I've worked in a number of universities in a number of systems, and this is the finest team I have ever had the opportunity of working with. Would all of you stand, please? Mark's over there. There are so many talented and dedicated people whose names I would love to share with you today, but there simply isn't time. But I hope you'll have a chance to meet all kinds of individuals and all of the people who made today possible during our festival. Many of the people you've seen on the screen are here today. Carl Ulrich, Bill Tien, Tom Howitt, and I hope you'll have a chance to visit with them over our lunch and during our festival. As leaders and supporters of UWSP, we are but the current stewards of a great institution. The single most important constant as we continue to write our history is our students. Year in, year out, they leave our campus and they go forth to our region, to our state, to our nation, and to our world, transformed by the commitment of faculty and staff to their education. The same commitment that this university made to those students in 1894, I can assure you, is still going on today. I remain deeply concerned about the level of compensation our state has allowed us to offer these extremely talented and committed individuals. And I look forward to your meeting in November when you will be discussing compensation issues. After our next presentation, I want each of you to join us in the Melvin Laird Room down on the 2nd floor, where you can talk with our on-screen guests and others who are here today. Meet Senator Lassa, I know she's going to continue to be with us, at our Leading from the Center Festival, where we will showcase our students, faculty, research talent. We'll have international student performances, show you images of our study abroad students from the past year, and enjoy some international food prepared with local ingredients. Once again, I appreciate this opportunity to welcome you to Stevens Point and an opportunity to talk to you about the way in which Central Wisconsin is truly leading from the center. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Bunnell. Now I'd like to call upon President Riley to begin the discussion on accountability in the UW system.
Thank you, President Bradley, and thank you, Chancellor Bunnell. It was wonderful. It's great to be back with you, and I'm sorry that I do have to report to you that I didn't have my pointer socks with me this morning when I ran on the Schmeeckley Preserve, so I'll have to fix that next time. But it was great to have a chance to meet some of the cadets in the Army ROTC program here and run with them. They were very kind for the older set and kind of kept the pace at a reasonable number. And I'm happy to report that everybody, especially the older group that got back, did make it to the donuts on time. And that's, of course, the most important reason for running in the first place. Well, it is great to be back here. And I wanted to talk a little bit with you this morning about accountability in the UW system. And to set the stage for that presentation and discussion with you, I'd like to mention three distinct but related items. I'll remind you of them. Number one, our system-wide participation in the National Voluntary System of Accountability. Second, our own system accountability report. And third, the performance measures that were included with our 09 biennial budget submission, which this board approved at its meeting in August. Back in November 2007, the UW system announced that all 13 of our four-year campuses would participate in the Voluntary System of Accountability, a new national initiative to publish standardized performance data and other information. Earlier this week, just this week, we announced that the new VSA college portraits were now published online for each of our 13 four-year UW system campuses. And let me say that that our two-year campuses and UW colleges have not opted out of this. We continue to talk with the folks at NSOLJEC and ask you, the two national higher ed organizations that are the sponsors of this voluntary system of accountability, about two-year college participation. They haven't quite figured out how to manage that yet, but we're working with them, so we hope that they will figure that out, and our two-year colleges under Chancellor Wilson's leadership will be able to join as well. But I think that these portraits at the four-year, the college portraits at the four-year campuses going online, is an important milestone for us in Wisconsin, and it's an important milestone for the VSA as a whole. This national effort, I think, is just one more way we're trying to demonstrate in Wisconsin our commitment to being accountable to students, to parents, and to taxpayers. This morning, Sharon Wilhelm will provide an overview of the initiative and then turn it over to Shari Ellertson, who is coordinating UW Stevens Point's participation in the VSA. And Shari will walk us through UW Stevens Point's VSA website and the data now available in this campus's college portrait. So I haven't seen this yet, and I'm very much interested in seeing how Stevens Point has framed this up. On a related topic, Sharon will also brief us on the ongoing effort to refine and reformat our own UW System Accountability Report. As you may recall from our meeting this past April, the system has been publishing these reports annually since 1993, when ours became the first statewide system of higher education in the country to publish such a report. When Sharon presented the 2008 report at the April meeting of this board, we promised that the next edition would align more closely with our Advantage Wisconsin strategic framework, its 7 core strategies, and our growth agenda generally. In the process of making that happen, of repackaging and reorganizing our data into that framework, it became apparent that we would need to add some additional accountability measures. Sharon will highlight these new areas for you, and she'll also discuss how some of the existing accountability measures will be carried forward into the new report format. This is a detailed, labor-intensive process that does require close coordination with all of our institutions. For example, the measures for retention and graduation rates need a fresh examination. This effort will allow us to develop and present the right accountability measures in all areas that accurately and fully illustrate our commitment to the growth agenda for Wisconsin. This brings me to the third item and the discussion from our August board meeting regarding performance indicators included with our biennial budget submission for 2009-2011. These 4 indicators, developed years ago by a previous Board of Regents, will need to be revisited through the lens of the growth agenda. That process begins today with a discussion at the Business, Finance, and Audit Committee meeting this afternoon. Because of the need to work closely with a variety of internal and external constituencies in developing these indicators and goals, we're not asking to significantly change the 09-11 biennial budget performance indicators that were submitted this year as part of the budget package. Instead, we ask that you consider making a few slight modifications to the goals connected with these indicators. And the language here can sometimes be confusing. You know, the indicators are, for example, graduation rate, retention rate. The goals are the numbers you put to those 2 rates. So we will be asking you to make a slight modification in some of those goals in order to reflect some significant progress the university has made on those goals. That is, we didn't want to have a situation, obviously, where we had exceeded a goal and our goal for next year was lower than what we had actually achieved in this year. So Sharon will be talking to you about that. All of this, I think, will take us along the path to a fuller alignment of the accountability system with the growth agenda for Wisconsin. And again, those of you on business, finance, and audit will have a chance to talk about this in some detail this afternoon, and then we're hoping that a recommendation will come forward from that committee to the full board on Friday morning. So, now I'm pleased to turn the floor over to our accountability czar, Associate Vice President, Sharon Wilhelm. Czarina, I was corrected by the board president.
And thank you for this opportunity to update you on recent work on the UW System Accountability Report and the UW System's participation in the Voluntary System of Accountability. As many of you are aware, the UW System has a long history of accountability reporting. The most recent report, Achieving Excellence, was developed in 1999 and has served us well for 8 editions. 7 of these editions have included institution-specific accountability reports developed in cooperation with each UW institution. With the new strategic framework for the UW system, it is an ideal time to revisit our accountability reporting. There we go. First, I'd like to review the structure and content of our current accountability report. The report consists of 3 sections. Section 1, Context and Capacity, offers some insight into the context in which the UW institutions function. There are no accountability targets or benchmarks in this section. Section 2, the main focus of the report, provides 6 broad goals emphasizing the UW system's service to students and 20 indicators associated with them. Performance is compared to national benchmarks and targets. Section 3 is a compendium of other reports on various aspects of the UW system that also demonstrate accountability beyond what is in Achieving Excellence report. While the primary objective of revising the current accountability report is to align it with the 7 core strategies of Advantage Wisconsin framework, we also took the opportunity to examine the strengths and weaknesses of the report. A strength of the current report is the manageable number of indicators. However, there is room for improvement in making the report more accessible to readers by making the navigation of the report easier. The proposal I will be describing for you this morning is for the report which will be presented to you this coming spring. It is to be considered a transitional report, and with changes that primarily focus on structure and formatting. Next comes the work of revising the targets for some of the current indicators and gathering more input on other indicators that may be of value to add to future reports. As you will recall, the strategic framework consists of the 3 goals of the growth agenda: more graduates, high-paying jobs, stronger communities, along with 3 enabling strategies to help us prepare students and achieve the growth agenda goals. Recommendations for the new report are organized around these 7 core strategies. The strategic framework provides not just a new organization for the accountability report, it also represents an expansion in emphasis. The old report's goals primarily focused on the student experience. Under the new framework, the student experience is positioned within the broader context of the UW system's contributions to the state. To reflect this broader emphasis, we propose some new accountability indicators. What I'd like to do next is share with you the proposal for improving the readability and navigation and then help the reader understand its relationship with the Advantage Wisconsin strategy. To that end, the charter table is larger and more prominent. The goal statement for the indicator is clearly and simply stated, along with the status, achieved, not achieved, or mixed performance. Text is kept to a minimum. On the right-hand side of the page, a sidebar lists related information. The items listed within that section of the page may include such things as additional information for specific groups of students or specific examples of ways that the UW system strives to achieve progress on the accountability indicator. Although there are no specific benchmarks or targets for the related information, the data clearly relates to the indicator and will be of interest to internal and external audiences. For example, the indicator of access uses the standard measure of access rates for Wisconsin immediate new freshmen. And its related information provides information on access for low-income students and cost of attendance. Through this new layout, we have preserved the information that was in the Achieving Excellence report, including items from the context and capacity section, while making the amount of data still manageable for readers. The next few slides list the proposed accountability indicators along with examples of the related information for each of the 7 core strategies. For the core strategy of Prepare Students, 3 existing indicators from Achieving Excellence fit well: post-baccalaureate exams, critical thinking, and study-away experiences. Related information for these indicators would include information on students' learning and multicultural experiences, along with study-away data by race and ethnicity. The core strategy of More Graduates has several indicators of progress in the pipeline to conferring more degrees. Access for Wisconsin high school graduates, enrollments, retention rates, and graduation rates are indicators we've used in the past. The last 3 as DOA performance measures, as well as being in Achieving Excellence. The new report would continue to report on these indicators by race, ethnicity, as well as for all students. Degrees conferred is a new proposed indicator. This particular strategy will be strengthened after an examination of the current retention and graduation rate targets. Over the next several months, these rates will be discussed and new targets developed. For related information, many items from the old report would be included here, such as pre-college participation, distance education, academic advising, and Wisconsin's educational attainment rate. The core strategy for well-paying jobs has 3 indicators: increasing research funding, which we formerly reported in Achieving Excellence, contribution to the Wisconsin economy, which is one of our DOA performance measures and estimates the impact of earnings of bachelor degree recipients compared to high school graduates, and degrees in high-need and leading-edge fields, which is a new indicator that would address the link between academic programs and areas of projected economic growth. The core strategy for Stronger Communities has 2 indicators: civic participation of students and community outreach and education efforts. UW institutions' work in the area of community outreach and education is an important measure of progress. Over the next couple of months, we will be working with UW Extension and others to identify best ways to measure these efforts. The core strategy of resources includes growing the university's financial resources while developing its human talent. The proposed indicator of reporting on total revenue would be a new indicator for the accountability report, although revenue information is routinely reported in the UW System's annual financial report. Given the importance of human resources to the university and our system-wide diversity goals, the indicator of faculty and staff diversity which was first included in last year's edition of Achieving Excellence, will continue to be included. For the strategy of operational excellence, the proposed indicators are continued from the past report. We have reported administrative costs and credits to degree for many years. The energy efficiency indicator was reported for the first time in last year's report. UW institutions engage in many different types of collaborations, but the challenge is developing quantifiable measures to monitor progress in this area. Collaborative academic programs is an indicator we've reported in the past, and it remains relevant. Other types of collaborations with K-12, with other agencies, or through regional partnerships such as New North are examples of collaborations that will be included under related information. Student transfer from non-UW institutions and information on articulation agreements will be included as supporting evidence of our collaboration with other higher education sectors in Wisconsin. This concludes the proposal for the system-wide accountability report. I'd like to turn it now to the institutional accountability reports. The current institutional reports consist of a few indicators common to all institutional accountability reports: enrollment, retention, graduation rates, student involvement, and credits to degree. In addition, campuses choose indicators specific to their institutional missions and strategic planning processes. The proposal for the Spring 2009 Institutional Accountability Report is to keep the common indicators basically the same. Campuses will be asked to review their institution-specific indicators in light of the Advantage Wisconsin strategic framework and could continue to use existing indicators or develop new ones as appropriate. In addition, campuses involved in the Equity Scorecard Initiative will be asked to include data from those activities in their report. In summary, the proposed changes to next year's report build upon current accountability reporting while structurally redesigning the report to reflect the new strategic priorities. For the system-wide report, 4 new indicators are proposed. 15 indicators from Achieving Excellence will continue to have targets and benchmarks associated with them. The remaining items from Achieving Excellence, including those previously found in Context and Capacity section, are included in the new report under Related Information. Now I'd like to turn your attention to UW System's participation in the national effort to increase accountability of public institutions of higher education, the Voluntary System of Accountability, or VSA. This is a joint project of the American Association of State Colleges and Universities, or ASCU, and the National Association of State Universities and Land-Grant Colleges, or NASALGIC. In late 2006, the Illumina Foundation awarded a grant to ASCU and NASALGIC to fund the creation of an accountability system providing equivalent measures among public four-year institutions on a national scale. The purpose is to generally increase public understanding of colleges and universities, as well as provide an equal plate for comparison to prospective students, their parents, government officials, and all parties to whom public institutions of higher education are held accountable. During the November 2007 joint meeting of ASCU and NASALGIC, a VSA oversight board was created. Within that same month, a letter was sent informing the newly formed oversight board of the UW System's intent to participate. UW institutions have been hard at work at implementing this since then. While the national initiative has first focused its attention on developing a college portrait for public four-year schools, the VSA initiative will not be complete until the two-year UW colleges are included. Progress on the national level on the development of a college portrait for two-year colleges remains a priority for the UW system. The components of the VSA college portrait are divided into 3 sections: consumer information, student experiences and perceptions, and student learning outcomes. The time frame established by VSA for posting items to the college portrait spans 4 years. This provides campuses with time to implement additional surveys and learning outcome assessments. Further details on the VSA will be provided by Sherry Ellertson as she walks you through UW Stevens Point College Portrait. In addition to UW campuses adopting the new reporting tool on each of their websites, the national website lists VSA participants by state. There are also links to each UW campus college portrait available from the UW system homepage. The VSA initiative provides valuable accountability information for all stakeholders. Now I'd like to turn the presentation over to Sherry so she can further describe the college portrait.
Good morning. My name is Sherry Ellerton, and I'm the VSA coordinator here at UWSP and a policy and planning analyst in the Office of the Chancellor. I'd like to thank Associate Vice President Wilhelm for the opportunity to share our college portrait with you. And I'd also like to take this time to recognize the good work of colleagues in the System Office of Policy Analysis and Research, and I see some of them are here. They've worked very closely with all the 13 institutions throughout implementation of the VSA. And then finally, we have a very broad-based campus team here at UWSP who's been working on this initiative for nearly a year, and I just wanted to express my appreciation for their hard work and collaboration on this project. The college portrait is a 5-page document that is the result of the VSA. The portrait is designed to present basic comparable information, provide transparency to the public and other stakeholders, and it's to be presented on the web. There are 3 main sections, as Sharon previously mentioned, as well as customizable sections for each individual campus. And so I'm going to spend a few moments this morning walking through each of the elements of the college portrait, and I'll point out the various sections and the customizable components as well. Okay, at the top of the college portrait, each institution has an opportunity to provide some introductory text as well as some visual identifiers such as a logo. I should mention that the majority of the college portrait is a template format, and so there are opportunities throughout for pieces to be expanded upon and customized, but for the most part, every portrait looks the same. The first page covers consumer information. That includes enrollment characteristics, such as here on the left-hand side of the page, and undergraduate success and progress rates, as you see on the right-hand side of the page. Throughout the portrait, there are these More buttons, and that gives each institution an opportunity to customize what they put behind that. So in our case, you can click More, and you go to our fact book for the institution to provide in-depth or more detailed information on that particular element related to student enrollment. The undergraduate success and progress rate involves a little bit more than what is traditionally reported for undergraduate success and progress. Traditionally, the information covers enrollment and retention and graduation at the institution where the student started. In the VSA project, it calls upon data from the National Student Clearinghouse to provide a more complete picture of a student's progression in college. For example, on this graph, there are 2 colored bars representing enrollment and graduation at UWSP at 4 years and at 6 years for both first-time freshmen and transfer students. The 2 additional pieces of the graph that will be completed include graduation from other institutions and enrollment at other institutions. So basically, the VSA format is providing a more complete picture of what happens to a student once they enroll in college. For the purposes of this graph, we'll have 2 additional bars added to this graph in the coming months as we work with the National Student Clearinghouse to complete the data element. The second page of the college portrait also contains consumer information. On the left-hand side are graphs and other tables regarding financial data and cost of attendance. One feature of the VSA project and of the college portrait is the cost calculator, the college cost calculator. This provides students and parents an opportunity to click into a calculator, and by answering a few questions, they can get an estimate, a realistic estimate of what the net cost of attendance would be at a particular institution. This cost calculator, I'll mention, was developed in-house and designed by our IT department in our financial aid office. And there are many other formulas there are consortiums working on this and other formats that are being utilized, but we have the benefit of having in-house expertise. On the lower left of this page, there's information as to how many students receive financial aid. And on the right-hand side of the page, it focuses on admissions as well as degrees and areas of study of our graduates. The second page essentially provides students with a clear picture of what it takes to become a student here and how we help students with financial aid. The third page of the portrait has a little more customizable space. At the top, each institution can provide a description about the community and the living and learning environment that we have on our campus. There are 9 buttons that are customizable below, and each of these things can be changed based on a campus's needs or desires. Here at UWSP, we wanted to provide students and parents and families with answers to commonly asked questions about what it means to be a student here or how they could become involved once they are students here. So, for example, a student looking for admissions information can click right from the college portrait and be changed to our admissions webpage, where they'll learn all about visiting our campus, enrollment opportunities, majors, and what it takes to become a student here. Another button that we have put on our college portrait here is what we call At a Glance, which gives prospective students and their families an opportunity to read about our campus, and then maybe more importantly, to hear from some of our faculty and students in videos that we have on this website. The other information on this page, the third page of the portrait, pertains to classroom environment, faculty composition, student housing, of which 90% of our new freshmen live on campus, information about campus safety, and this is another customizable feature. So we were able to describe in depth to our audiences the things that we're doing here on our campus to protect the safety of our community members. Carnegie classifications, and then finally, on this page, future plans of bachelor's degree recipients. And as you'll notice, it indicates here that these data are not yet available and will be posted by 2010. That is one of the things that Sharon mentioned earlier, that each component of the portrait has a rollout time frame. So some elements were due within 3 months of participation, and other elements aren't due for 4 years. Now for us at UWSP, we collect very similar data already, but we'll need to modify it just slightly so we can meet the specific requirements of that particular data element. And we expect to post it by summer of 2009. The second section of the college portrait pertains to student perceptions and experiences on campus. Here, institutions have an opportunity to use one of 4 national surveys. Because UW System has already been using the National Survey of Student Engagement, or the NSSE, for some time now, we're well ahead of the 3-year timeline for reporting this data element. On this page, data from the survey are reported for 6 categories of student engagement, from active learning experiences to interaction with faculty members to student satisfaction. These are all important because research shows that students who are actively engaged in their learning and development are more likely to be successful in college. And so I believe all of the portraits for all of our colleagues in the system also have these data ported well ahead of schedule. The third and final element is contained on the 5th page of the college portrait, and it pertains to student learning outcomes. The first piece of this involves institutions providing, again, a customizable description of what they're doing on their campuses to measure student learning. It also provides an option to click in for more information and to get a more in-depth picture of what's happening on each particular campus. The second way that student learning is depicted in the college portrait is through the use of one of 3 nationally normed instruments for measuring learning gains between the freshman and senior years of college. These are in 2 basic, the outcomes that are measured are in 2 basic areas: critical thinking and written communication skills. And for a number of reasons, this is the most complicated element of the portrait, and thus it has the longest time frame for implementation, 4 years. Here at UWSP, we participated in a pilot project for the Collegiate Assessment of Academic Proficiency last fall, and we've elected to report our results, noting a statistically significant difference, a statistically higher score of our seniors than our freshmen on this measure. I've given you a very quick overview of the college portrait, and I hope that you'll have an opportunity to explore not only our portrait, but those of our institutions, our fellow institutions in the UW system, to see how we are all participating in the National Voluntary System of Accountability.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sherry. I want to... I'd like to make the point that Sherry and others on this campus and across the campuses in the system and people at system administration are working very hard on this project. I think you get some sense just from the little bit of what you've seen of the tip of the iceberg, how much effort is going into this. And 1 or 2 quick comments, and then I'll open it up for questions. Or Sharon, did you need to come back? No? All right. Okay. One of the things that Sherry said was that the format is the same across all the campuses, and indeed that's true nationally, the basic format, and that's really in response to a criticism that we've heard of higher education, and I think it came through in the Spellings Commission work in particular, that while there's lots of information out there, it's not easy to access, it's not comparable from one campus or system to the other, it's not easy to analyze what it means. So part of what this effort is about is pulling all that together and putting it in a framework that makes it more accessible, makes it more easy to analyze for students and parents, prospective students and prospective parents. At the same time, both Sharon and Sherry mentioned that there is a customizable element to this, because we very much wanted each institution to be able to present to parents and students who might be interested in it what's unique about that campus. And that's true across our system. Each of our campuses is unique, and that's true across the country. So this is an effort to really balance those 2 goals of having comparable, accessible, analyzable data where you can say this is an apple here, this is an apple there, what do they look like when you set them on the shelf together, and what am I interested in as a student? Because this is all about matching what students want and need with the appropriate campus, being able to do that, but then at the same time, when you do get to that need to match a student's desire with what's available on a particular campus, they need to know what's unique about this place, what makes this special, what makes this a place that I would really want to go to as opposed to another place that wouldn't be as attractive for me, the other place would be more attractive for my brother or sister. So it's important work. We were one of the very first systems to sign on to this nationally with those 2 national organizations. We're proud of that, and I think they've been very happy with, I know they've been very happy from talking to their leadership with the work Wisconsin is doing in this regard. So I think Sharon and Sherry and all of those my colleagues who've worked on it can feel very good about that. I think this board can, I think our leadership can as well. But Sharon, you did want to say something else. I can tell.
That I think we need to think about accountability as not only our paper report, but a combination of what we provide in the paper report and this very important initiative, because it is providing a lot of very useful information to all stakeholders. That's just going to be some concluding remarks, and I'd take any questions.
We're open for questions. Regent Bartell.
I guess I had a question for Sherry. Maybe I missed this. In the college portrait, was there some area that disclosed participation and location of study abroad programs?
In the portrait itself, there is not, unfortunately. But we at UWSP have included among ours, we've included in ours a link specifically to study abroad, but the portrait itself didn't have that as a common element. Although, I'm sorry. I do remember that the NSSE, the National Survey of Student Engagement, has a question about that, and I think it may be reported, but as not all institutions choose this one tool, it may not be standard across.
Regent Crane.
I have a question about the Achieving Excellence report. Sharon, where are we in our ability to show retention and graduation rates for students of poverty? I mean, I know that the racial ethnic component is there, which is not enough, it seems to me, to tell us how well we're really doing.
Our ability would be to generate retention and graduation rates for some proxy of low income, which would be Pell recipients. Using that population, we could calculate retention and graduation rates.
I just want to say, it seems to me for us to really understand how well we're doing, that's such an important component, and I know it's difficult, but I think it's very important.
Regent Vasquez.
I may have blinked or had my eyes closed temporarily when the UW-Stevens Point website came up. But if I was a first-time, a parent of a first-time college-bound student, and as well as myself, never been to college, and I would venture to the website, how would I find this? I didn't, or did I miss something that it was a nice little logo that said, "Look here." And I'm thinking primarily again of parents who have never been to a university, or this is the first time.
And that's for the very reason that we're trying to provide links to it in a variety of places, including the UW System homepage, and some of our outreach efforts will include it, but also let Sherry address where they have it on their Stevens Point.
Yes, the VSA policy is that each institution needs to have it within one click of the home page. And so either on the home page, and ours was just redesigned and posted, so I don't know if we have plans, but I'm assuming we do, to put it on the home page. But if we click on Future Students, that is where families will find it from our website currently. We've also talked about, and as our new web page is new, having a quick link up here, so that families who are visiting can find it from multiple ways on our website.
Yes, Chancellor Wells, and then we'll come back over to the right side. I should mention that Rick served as the chair of one of the national committees working on this, and we've had other colleagues working at those committees as well. So, Regent Smith.
I just wanted to ask a question about what information we're providing as to what happens to our graduates after they graduate. It looked like the only thing on the VSA was some information on what they intend to do. Is there any information on what they're earning, where they're going, as far as where they land up, whether it's in the area or anything like that?
Yes, actually, that is a question that we've raised with the executive director of the VSA. on campus here, we have a survey that our Career Services Office does. It's very in-depth and collects information on what students actually do instead of what they plan to do. And so that question, the VSA board is meeting in October and entertaining ideas from the people who are using it. So currently, the way it's represented is, as you mentioned, in the future plans question, and then we have an opportunity to, I believe, provide. I think that's the one area it looks like they don't have a more link available. There is a more link available, and so we haven't yet populated that, but we'll be able to provide more in-depth information about our graduates.
I think that's something that parents and students would want. The selling point obviously is to A, what people are earning, B, where they're landing up.
Yes, we thought so too. Thank you.
Regent Keene and then Regent Davis.
Thank you. Thanks, Sharon and Sherry, for great reports. Very interesting information. My question is for Sherry. I'm just wondering, you mentioned on the assessment piece, which is a hard piece, it's going to take about 4 years to get that together. Do you have any idea what might be included in that piece right now, a draft of kinds of assessment information that'll be available?
As to the customizable piece, or the customizable, at this moment, we're working on pulling together. We do have a link here where individuals can click. At the moment, it goes into our assessment website for our assessment subcommittee, and it's one of the areas we've talked about expanding as well, trying to offer opportunities to departments and colleges to submit reports, maybe create a little landing site where people can post the ways in which they are assessing student learning in particular programs in colleges. But as to the common measure, it'll be one of the 3 for each of the participating institutions. And we've used the CAP here, the Collegiate Assessment of Academic Proficiency, and that's what's represented in these numbers that came from our pilot test.
Regent Davis.
Okay, Sharon. I'm excited about the plans for revising the accountability report, and I'm really interested in being able to find what we need and everything we need in one spot, and so I'm really commending, because I know it's a lot of work to get there. I'm interested in hearing more specifics about the timeline, and particularly for completion, and particularly the process and when the Regents' engagement will be engaged.
Well, we are calling the spring report, spring of '09, a transitional report, because we feel like we don't want to just present a final report and have it be set. So that we're looking for, when that report is presented, feedback on what you like about the report, what other indicators we maybe need to add. Even some of the related information might be better served as having targets associated with them, or vice versa. So we will be looking for input as we present the next one. But we feel like if we can present something, it'll be easier to get response to it. Though I am listening carefully about where students are ending up and retention and graduation, and taking that into the conversation for the next report, for the spring '09 report.
As a follow-up, so ultimately our goal is to have the report completed and therefore reporting what has been agreed upon by when?
To have a set report? Well, if the '09 report is a transitional report that we're still wanting feedback, we would expect the 2010 report to be settled and ready for using it throughout a series of years. Though I have to say that even though we had the current Achieving Excellence for 8 years, we've always made modifications every year. So we're not, we're always tweaking it as needed. So I think there's always every year that opportunity to include or enhance the report.
Regent Loftus.
Sharon, on the accountability report resources you have as a, under indicators and goals, increase total revenue, and that's new. And two questions. One, why is that? Has that been added? I guess, and is that that's a goal? And two, what are the component parts of total revenue?
Well, I think that I'd like to defer to our financial admin person, Vice President Debbie Durkin, to answer that question. She is on the working group that has been working on this, and we talked about having just GPR revenue as a goal, or total revenue pieces, etc. And the group came up with this recommendation. But Deb,
sure, thanks, Sharon. As Sharon indicated, we did talk extensively about having one of our goals to increase state support, but we felt that that was not totally under our control. And in order to meet the demands of a growth agenda, we're going to need more resources to serve those students. And in order to sustain our purchasing power for inflation, you're going to have to grow your resources. And so we thought that if we had a global goal of growing revenue, then various components in individual years could respond accordingly. I mean, it might, hopefully some years it would be GPR, other years there might be more growth in tuition, there might be more federal or private grants, so we looked at it as a combination.
So in the definition of total revenue, you put tuition, fees, state support, federal support, alumni.
Right, private gifts.
Foundation. Differential tuition.
Sure.
Out-of-state tuition.
Yep.
And the goal now is to increase the total revenue rather than to focus on state support.
I wouldn't say, I wouldn't isolate it that way, but for purposes of the transition report, you know, we looked at the total revenue. I think that, you know, because we did have a lot of discussion about should we have a goal related to growing state support, I think that could be one of the areas that we would look at further as we, you know, further refine the individual goals and we look at new goals into the future.
Excuse me. So is
yes, Regent Vasquez.
So in addition to just having the total, I mean, will there be subcategories identified and other sub-goals identified, or is it just one big, humongous number that's going to appear as a goal?
I think as we move to the next permanent report, you know, we want to look at refining these goals. You know, this was something for the transition, and there probably are many areas within the new revisions that you would want to look at specific goals. And this is just one area, but we were open to, you know, many different goals, or as Sharon indicated, that related information. Some of that you might want to attribute a goal to it, or you might have a more general statement.
Yeah, and just let me comment. I think if we're going to achieve the big goals of the growth agenda, a move from our 25.5% of the population with a baccalaureate degree to at least the national average of 27.5%, never mind Minnesota's 32 or 33, we're going to have to enroll and graduate a lot more students. That means, I think, all of our revenue sources are likely to need to go up at the same time that we're very, very involved in driving down cost per student by refining the way we do business. I just don't see how we can make those numbers without both of those things happening. So it's enhanced revenue from all sources, and it's driving down costs in a whole variety of ways. Regent Falbo.
I think, well, obviously that has to be broken down more because we have an unfunded cost per student. So increasing students is going to increase our deficit. And so it should be maybe somewhere key into the unfunded cost per student and how do we reduce that.
Regent Bradley had a question.
Yes, Sharon, I just have a comment, and then Sherry, I have a question for you. But Sharon, we have always been very proud over the last few years being able to be the first system in the country to come out and be as transparent as our accountability report is. And I know that former Regent Axtell has been a very strong advocate of us getting all of our numbers out there. And I'm going to call him tonight and let him know that you're going to improve the report that he's been so proud of, and as we all have.
He contacted me and asked me to send him the latest report that somehow he didn't get it.
Well,
so I sent it to him.
As usual, Regent Axtell is ahead of me. And Sherry, I had a question. Could you go to the part of the VSA that talked about the critical thinking and the writing essay?
Sure.
Just coincidentally, yesterday, Tom Howitt and I were having a conversation about the business interest in critical and strategic thinking. I'm just wondering, when you show the differences between the freshman score and the senior score, what are you measuring in that critical thinking data element?
This particular instrument defines critical thinking as the ability to analyze, synthesize, and expand upon an argument. That is one of the elements of how critical thinking is defined with the collegiate assessment of academic proficiency. So it's a test score on a range of up to 80, from 40 to 80. That's the construct that they're alleging. They're framing this particular instrument around. And each of the instruments we've learned, we actually have a critical thinking expert here on our campus, a faculty member who studies it, and she's done some looking at these various tools and has found that each of the three instruments that are options here with the VSA project have slightly different ways of defining and then measuring those constructs. So this particular one focuses on analyzing, summarizing, synthesizing, and expanding an argument.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's fair to say for Mr. Howard and for Regent Bradley, and you two can correct me if I'm wrong, Sharon and Sherry, but these standardized instruments that we're using, we have a choice among several, are, I think a lot of the experts would say, in a pretty new state. They're not as sophisticated as we'd like them to be, so we're stepping into this knowing that we've a ways to go to refine the way we measure those very important skills. But this is a start, I think. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say. And we appreciate the VSA timeline of 4 years to have to post some of this information, which gives the UW campuses opportunities to explore a couple of the different surveys to see how well they do capture the measures. So.
And Regent Bradley, given your experience and Sharon's with Regent Axtell and his interest in this area, I just wanted to point out it's another example of how old regents never die and they don't fade away either. Regent Bartell, did you have another question? Any other questions or comments? All right. Well, thank you both very much and for all your good work on this. Back to President Bradley.
Okay, thank you, President Riley. Chancellor Bunnell, we could use opportunities to visit unless you tell us that we may proceed to lunch because we have concluded the points of our agenda for this morning.
I invite you to the Melvin R. Laird Room on the second floor, and the university will be bringing the entire university to you, and we urge you to talk to students and faculty and enjoy the opportunity to experience UWSP in a still further way. May I recognize Representative Milewski, who has just arrived. Representative Malepsky, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you.
Okay, we will take a lunch recess, and the committees will convene at 1:30.
Yes,